Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers-McSwine.
We want to welcome you to our holiday show with the National Federation of the Blind Newsline. Florence, it's been a great year for us so far, and we just have the Christmas season and New Year's coming up on us.
We do.
So there's a lot of things that we talk about over the years, but this year for the NFB Newsline, we have extra news articles and also circulars that you can go shopping with over your phone, other than Target and Walmart.
Yes, every year we have the holiday ads, and I'm looking forward to using those because I'm planning on doing a lot of shopping this year.
Yeah, I find it to be very usable and friendly usable, as the service is itself. It's a free service, NFB Newsline. And once again, for those of you who are just tuning in to us, NFB Newsline is a free audible service. And what it allows individuals that are blind or visually impaired or print challenged, those that have sort of like the have problems turning pages or just can't navigate the print well enough. This service allows you free to read your local newspapers, your international newspapers, your national newspapers, also your national papers such as USA Today, the USA Times, and plenty other publications. So I find that to be a great service. And then with this holiday ads, I mean, I have done that over the years, and it has been very helpful as I shop and make my bargains with which stores we're going to shop at, and it really does make it convenient.
And that's right, Lee. NFB Newsline is a great service, and it's available for everyone who qualifies for NFB Newsline. But at that, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our break, and we'll be right back.
I'm Danny Wayne Beamer, Program Manager of the Elder Blind Program at the Will Center in Terre Haute, Indiana. I introduce the NFB Newsline to seniors in 13 southwestern counties in Indiana. I also utilize the NFB Newsline for my radio station public affairs shows. The NFB Newsline. Experience it today.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post, too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
Well, welcome to this week's National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show. And this is our holiday show, and we have a special guest, Private Solomon Williams from the Army Reserve. Solomon, thank you for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Solomon, tell me a little bit about you. I know you're quite young, but you're private. And tell me just a little bit about you.
I'm 19. I'm in the Indiana National Guard. I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. let's see, what else? I was adopted at the age of 5, and currently my mother and brother are both, they both have vision problems.
Okay, you say vision problems, so you were raised in a family where your adopted mother was she blind or considered legally blind, do you know?
Considered legally blind.
Okay, all right. And you said you were adopted at the age of 5?
Yes.
Okay. Solomon, now being adopted into a family where your parent was blind, did you notice anything that was different, or were you raised just like the other children in the family?
I was raised just like everybody else.
Okay.
I'll say there wasn't too much of a difference besides, like, sometimes I would help needing to see where certain items were, but other than that, it was pretty easy.
Okay.
And you stated you had a brother that was also coping with sight loss?
Yes.
Okay, so oh wow, so your mother was legally blind, and she had another son that was blind or is blind, and you had no problems at all as her parenting, and it looks like you have made some great decisions and come out pretty well with yourself so far. So where did you go to school at?
I went in the Pike district.
Okay, so Pike High School?
Yes.
Okay. And going through Pike, and I mean, what type of extracurricular activities did you have at Pike?
Let's see. I ran track. I got into one of the coding classes. Let's see, what else? Oh, I did wrestling for a little bit too. That was pretty fun.
Oh, wow, pretty fun. So, in other words, you're kind of preparing yourself physically for what you've just done. You graduated from Pike, and you started working. Where did you work at after you graduated from Pike?
I started looking for a food job because that was what I was passionate in. So I started working at Taco Bell for a little bit, and then realized I was like, I really have a strong passion for making food for other people.
Okay.
Okay, so your interest in, correct me if I'm wrong, is culinary arts?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, all right. So you say you had a passion for cooking for other people?
Yes, I do.
All right, all right.
What do you like to cook?
A lot. Like, I like making chicken Alfredo from scratch, like making the noodles from scratch, the sauce, taking the chicken, grind it up. Let's see, what else? I like making lots of different types of pasta because there's so many different ways you can use pasta or noodles and like create all these cool shapes with it.
Oh, wow. So I need to get you over my house. All right. Now, as far as culinary arts, you said that you started working at Taco Bell because of the interest you had in food. And so what I want to get to, though, is where I know it's a journey. However, with your interest in culinary arts, how did you decide that joining the military would be part of that plan into studying culinary arts? How did you get to that point, Solomon?
For me joining the military, they helped me, or that's kind of like my job in the military. I am a culinary specialist. So right now, where I cook for the military police, and that's pretty much it. I spent like 8 weeks learning how to cook in the military field, or cook in the field environment, and then cook like a classical kitchen environment. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Besides the first half of basic training, where this like complete infantry teach you how to be like the basic fundamentals of being a soldier.
Well, I'm kind of impressed with you because our trails kind of match one another. They kind of mirror one another because I was adopted myself, and then at the age of 18, I went into the military, but it wasn't to learn how to be a chef or into those arts that you're doing. but I have a deep respect for you because you're very much of an inspiration, whether you realize it or not, to many of male and females that are at that age where they have to make decisions, and maybe they're not college ready, and maybe they're not so much job ready, and the experience that you had. Can you tell me the experience? Can you share that experience with some other young youth that are out there? What was it like for you to finally say, I'm going to go into the military?
For me, it was like, okay, I had like the same schedule every day, so I was like kind of getting tired of it. And I was like, you know what, I want to do something completely different with my life. Like I want to just like start completely over, see what else, what other experiences or choices I haven't explored yet. So then I started thinking about the military, and I was like, you know what, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. Let me try to join it. So then like once I was in the military, I learned to really love it. Like I want to make this my career.
So when you went through the, okay, so did you go see a recruiter? So help me out, help some of these young people out on your path into the military. You went to a recruiter?
Yes, I did. I first I went online, just started typing in Indiana National Guard, and then popped up with the recruiter. I contacted the recruiter, and then within 2 weeks, I had orders to go to Fort Leonard Wood for basic training.
Wow. Well, we're going to take us a short break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit about when you arrived at Fort Leonard Wood and how that experience was for you as a young man. So we'll be right back.
I am a blind vendor, and one of the things that I truly miss is reading Vending Times magazine.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
It is a fantastic service.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today.
We are the nation's blind, and we read NFB Newsline.
As I travel the nation, I read NFB Newsline.
I live in Valparaiso, Indiana, and I listen to my local news on NFB Newsline.
As a student, I enjoy reading current events on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline today. We want to welcome you back to our holiday show with our guest, Private Solomon. And I just want to say, Florence, it's been interesting for what we've learned so far, and it's very inspirational.
It is, especially with a man as young as you are. I don't want to keep emphasizing that, but I'm totally impressed because you're making a difference, Solomon, in your life, in your future. And you're also giving back in a way that is what I consider to be so noble. And you, as being a private right now, I want to thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Now tell me, Solomon, before you went into the military, you said you worked at Taco Bell. And you just didn't work at Taco Bell. You had a position at Taco Bell. What was that?
I was a manager at Taco Bell.
A manager. And what age were you then?
18.
18 years old. So, I mean, you just been a mature young man. And, okay, so we went into the military, and you went to the recruiter, and then you went to Fort Leonard Wood?
Yes, I did.
Okay, now what was that like?
It wasn't a pleasant experience.
Okay, well, tell us about it. I want to hear about that.
Okay, so we first got there after playing. Well, I got around there around 8 p.m., and then we stayed up the entire night doing paperwork. They checked us, make sure we didn't have any contraband like candy, or they made sure we annotated that we had our phones down on a paper, and then we got a chance to go to sleep, only wake up 10 minutes later to eat breakfast at 4 in the morning. Then we sat in the room for like, I'll say 6 hours just to wait to get our haircuts. Every time you fall asleep, they'll have you stand up or recite the Soldier's Creed or the Army song because we have to have that memorized.
Okay, what is the Soldier's Creed?
The Soldier's Creed, it is, I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am the guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier.
Wow, man, that just sends chills through me to hear you recite it and with so much passion. So, you know, you are an American soldier. Now, when I was coming through boot camp, it was just males. Were there females in your boot camp, or?
Yes, there were.
And you guys trained side by side?
Yes.
Could you share that experience with me a little bit? How did that go?
So like every morning for PT, it'll be like co-ed, so we're all just doing PT together. And then like at night, we all have our separate floor on the barracks. Like the females would be like on the first floor, the males would be on the second floor.
Okay. Now, the challenges of being a male and training with females, you know, that's kind of, I mean, to me, I guess I'm old school trained. And so was that a challenge for you to see females struggling, or maybe some of them exceeding what you was doing? Were there challenges there, forming a camaraderie?
Not really, because it's like we all are basically the same. We're all wearing the same clothes, so it's like, oh, well, we all are equal, because you can tell we all have the same. We all have Army across our chest. We're all training. We're all in the same uniform, always at the same time. So it's not that. It's not like we were. It's not like there was like any difference between us.
Wow, because that one kind of blows my mind, Florence, because, I mean, guys and girls, or ladies, and it was kind of throwing me a little bit, but at least you made it through that.
I think that that's just a male's point of view.
Yeah.
I think because I agree with Private Solomon Williams that I can see it as, you know, we are doing this together, we are equal. I was thinking about the motto of the Army National Guard, always ready, always there. And that is part of being in the reserve. Am I correct, Solomon?
Yes, you are.
So are you considered a civilian at this point, or even though you're in the military? And how does being in the reserve work? Can you tell me a little bit?
For right now, it's like we're civilians in times of peace, but soldiers in times of need. So we're like the motto says, we're always ready, we're always there. So as soon as something happens, we're always the first one to come on the scene. And then for unlike active duties, they're deployed. They have a duty station. The National Guard, they meet 1 week in a month at their unit just to train up for anything that's going to happen, or if something that is an emergency happens, we will be deployed.
Okay, that would include like what, natural disasters, floods and things like that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So you have a lot of stateside duties as well.
Yes, we do.
Would say. Okay.
Now Solomon, my question is, I know that there are other branches of the military, and you decided to go with the Army National Guard. Is there a particular reason why you selected this branch?
Not really. I was just, the Army just caught my eye. It was the first thing that caught my eye.
Okay. And you mentioned also that you, when you were in the military, that you fixed meals for the officers?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so you're still studying culinary arts at this point?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Now, I know that the National Guard also has ways that they assist you with school. And will they be assisting you in going to school, going to college, and studying the culinary arts?
Yes, it does. About time August hits, that's when I'll be using my GI Bill for going back to college, so I can finish getting me a degree in culinary arts.
And you also said something that captured my attention when you first started talking. You said that when you looked at the Army National Guard and decided to join the military, your thought was, this is something that I can make a career out of. So you're interested in making a career out of the military?
Yes, I am.
That's awesome.
That is awesome, because to me, a young person that makes up their mind and have the maturity that you have, you're not showing too many signs of weakness at all. You're still you're still a young pup, and you're making great strides. And what would you say to some of your peers your age that's contemplating serving their country, or what would you say to them?
I would say don't be afraid to join. I mean, it's not, like the recruiters are going to tell you, it's not that difficult to just raise your right hand and be part of the world's greatest army, or the world's greatest and strongest force. We are the top 1% of the United States that make up the Army. There's only 1% of the United States, people of the United States.
Wow. So, with this maturity that you have and this newfound spirit or journey along this journey of yours at an early age, wow, there's so many people that you're going to reach out to and touch, and I'm hoping that this show is a conduit for that for you and for those youth or for those parents that are watching or grandparents that are watching our show, to inspire their youth to be successful.
Now, is there any advice that you would give to anyone else? I mean, you said it's not that hard, but as far as the choice of perhaps maybe a branch, you selected the Army National Guard. Do you know if they have recruiters in high school as well?
Yes, they do. Usually they're always sending emails. I'm still getting emails from recruiters today trying to say, hey, join the Army National Guard. But yeah, there's a lot of recruiters that go to the school and do like little presentations, because that's what they did back when I was in high school. A couple of recruiters came into our class, talked about the Army. Back then, I kind of just pushed it aside because I was like, man, there's no way I'll join the Army. I was like, that's all this extra stuff getting talked down to. But then I'm seeing what the Army really is, and I was like, oh, this is not it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Wow. Well, one other thing I wanted to ask, and perhaps this is personal, but maybe this has something to do with the National Guard. As being in the reserve, do you get an allotment money?
I'll say I got a bonus, my sign-on bonus for joining the National Guard, which was $20,000. That's just for everybody, but it's given to you out through the course of your term of service.
Well, we're going to take a short break and come back with Private Williams.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read Jerusalem Post too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
Welcome to the conclusion of today's National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana show, where our guest has been Private Williams. And again, thank you for coming to our show, and thank you for what you are doing, the inspiration that you are to many young people.
So you're working right now?
Yes, I am.
And you're working with whom?
I'm at UPS at the moment.
UPS right now. And your goals is to use the military to go to college and prepare for culinary arts?
Yes.
Okay, so what would you want to say one more time? I know there's a lot of troops around the country and around the world that won't be able to come home for Christmas. Is there anything you want to say to those troops and individuals that are contemplating joining the service once again?
I'll say it's just stay motivated. Don't let anything bring you down.
Okay. So we want to thank you once again for staying motivated and inspiring other individuals and not letting yourself down and your country down, because we need more young men and women to be aspiring like you are. So thank you so very much for being you.
Thank you for your support.
And we want to say to those troops and those individuals that can't come home, thank you so very much for your service, and we are looking forward to the day that you do come home and your families, you guys are being all united once again. And once again, Florence, I just wish them all a great Merry Christmas.
Wonderful New Year.
The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 855-963-6476. That's 855-963-6476. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.